Well, you have to read the book first before it makes you a financial genius.
I read this in 1977.
Really?
This was my inspiration to invest in my first property.
That's cool. I like that.
I think you said one of these podcasts, you just want to interview me about my real estate experience.
Yes.
What recall?
Yes. Good morning and welcome to the 1111 Squared Show where humor meets business. Bob is obviously the humor and I'm more business, but who's counting?
Do not pay attention to my big font.
What'd you say?
You started this thing with them pole dancers, strippers rather.
No, okay, hold on.
Strippers, booze, and
Nobody
sugar
heard
daddy.
the conversation before the start of recording. That sounds terrible. Now I feel like I have to
On our last podcast where we discussed strippers, sugar
promise.
daddies, and alcohol, has not been
I
posted yet. We
mine is Jesus,
can't get it
Jesus,
past the FCC.
uh, yeah, it's not even fair. I have to recap on that and explain myself. This is the last three digits of your phone number is what you need for 2024. Mine's 444. It is Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. Bob, his last three are
You need
777.
forgiveness. You need forgiveness.
I do.
Bob's a 777.
Yep. And what was yours, Bob? What was yours, Bob?
I need strippers, and more strippers.
I feel like this is rigged. Had I not
Oh,
said that to you in the first place, then I would
I
have
could use some
questioned.
paint strippers.
Is that it? That's all you can think of?
Paint strippers. Wallpaper strippers.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
You can't fool the old man.
I
Hard as you try.
created the game, huh? I can't even argue that.
Nope.
So today's topic is going to be a good one. I think we should talk about angels. What do you think?
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Yeah?
Yes. I
Our
believe in
belief
angels.
system.
I
Me
believe in
too. Me
angels.
too.
I do.
How about angel investors though?
They're my favorite kind of angels.
Are they?
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit more about angel investors, Bob.
Well, those are people like myself who like to donate small sums of money to new startups if they can sell us on their idea and on their enthusiasm. And most of the time, an angel investor comes to their rescue and gives them $1,000 or $2,000, never more than $5,000, because we're doing it to help them get started. So I've done it many times. I'll continue to do it. I know others that have done it. It's fun for us. In most cases, I don't want to give away the punchline, but in many cases, there are angel investors like myself who forgive the micro loan, if you will, or our angel investment, if they get going and if they're successful and if they show enthusiasm and effort and diligence and they take advice, then we forgive the couple of $1,000s and continue to coach and mentor them if they like. But it's a great activity for the angels.
I like that. It's like a guardian angel for their business. Is that where that came from?
Money angels.
So a little bit more on that.
Sure.
What's in it? I mean, what's in it for you to be an angel investor?
That's a great question, Christina. I appreciate that. It really comes from our heart. It really does. And, our heart isn't just directed at helping new startup businesses. That we're just made that way. We're made to give back. We're made to pay it forward. were made to help people, especially those that are willing to come forward and say, I have a great idea. I really want to try this. It may not work, but I want to try because I just think it's going to work. And
Yeah.
if they can convince us that it's worth taking a shot, right?
Mm-hmm.
To those of us that are worked our whole life, to at least have an envelope that has a couple of bucks in it. So if someone came to me and said, would you listen to me? Would you listen to my story? Would you listen to what I'd like to try? That's what our envelope is for at our age. It's
Aw.
it's to help someone in need. And if someone, I, I don't mind sharing this because this is a live podcast and these are real true stories. I went
Mhm.
to a big idea pitch at Texas A&M University, and there was a young man there who had a great idea. And unfortunately for him, I could tell from my life experience that he didn't have the means to have a nice shirt, have a nice pair of slacks. So during one of the bio breaks, I got a minute with him alone. And I said, listen, you're a great young man. I love your business idea. I said, but if you are willing to let me help you, I said, I would like you to pick out 2 outfits, anything you would like. So the next time you go pitch your business idea to either the school or angel investors or other businesses, I think
Mhm.
you're really going to feel great when you look sharp because you have great ideas. Um, Time passed, and this is honest truth. He pinged me this past week and said, and it's been a month or two. Does your offer
Mhm.
still hold? I said, absolutely. He said, well, how do we go about doing this? I said, you go find tip to toe any 2 outfits that make you look great and successful. And then we're going to meet for coffee and I'll give you the money for that. And that's our plan.
Aw.
I'm waiting for him to tell me. I don't drink coffee, but I'm waiting to meet him again alone. So I'm going to foot the bill for his 2 business outfits. So,
That's a
that's
great idea.
that's sort of a tweak on angel investing, right? It's sort of a tweak. But if he came to me and pitched his business idea, and I think it's great during the challenge that I was one of the judges, his business idea is great. If he came to me and said, I need $2,000 or $3,000 for a
Mhm.
kickstart, I'd absolutely help him. And if he does come to me and say, how about a couple grand for my business? Now I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, what's in it for me, right? When you start making money, I want you to buy me a pair of socks, buy me a pair of cufflinks, right? He'll have to
Right.
return by buying me clothes. Buy me a nice golf shirt. But we do it, Christina, you and our audience can see from my true stories that angel investors do this from the heart. We do this to help others. We do this to try to make a difference. And when someone comes forward and says, if if I just had some seed money, right? I could always turn them around and say, go get a part-time job.
Yeah.
Go get a part-time job because you have no job experience and it'll be good for you. I might turn them around, let them come back to me in 6 months and I'll ask, how much money did you make? So, we don't want to make a mistake, but every time somebody comes and asks, you just don't start doling out the hondos, so to speak.
Yeah. Yeah.
I might tell them, what other things have you tried? What have you done up to this point? What have you done to try to make money? What have you done to try to run a business? Or, you get it, and the audience gets it.
Yeah.
So those that are listening to our podcast, I
Mhm.
strongly encourage someone who's in a position to think about being an angel investor. Even if you tried the experience one time with only a couple $100 or $500, enjoy the experience and think about the advice that we're giving them, Christina. If
Mhm.
at the end of the day, you don't need the couple of hundred or you don't need the 500, work with whoever that individual is, help them, support them, encourage them, be their greatest cheerleader. And you're probably going to forgive whatever seed money you gave to them. You would do the same thing. I know you very well. You've done it. We have done it.
Um, And every single one of the angel investment opportunities, there is, there's different terms and conditions per company, per individual, depends who they're pitching. I mean, sometimes it's a story that, like you were explaining, that touches your heart, and you felt, obligated to note that you want to support somebody's passion and dream. And I think that's amazing. Is there any kind of cap off, would you say, that it stops becoming an angel investment and then start getting into, private loans? Where would you cut that
Um,
off at?
I'll touch on that in a second. But
Mhm,
you just made a wonderful point that I would like to underscore for our audience.
mhm,
You pointed out that it doesn't have to be the money. Most people know that I've started our family foundation. And the
mhm,
point is there's a thing called an in-kind contribution. So it doesn't have to be cash because you're a creative designer.
mhm,
You can offer many things. It doesn't have to be monetary, right? So
mhm.
that's good for our viewing audience and followers to know that. So if you don't have the money, Christina's got the solution for you. You can always give an in-kind contribution for whatever their needs might be.
Yes,
I would
absolutely.
say the top end of an angel investment should be around $5,000 because
Yeah,
at that point you're putting a fair amount of money at risk. So for a couple hundred or 500, you might just be doing it to do it. I would say past $2,000, know what you're doing, do some diligence. Don't do it just because you like somebody or you like their appearance or you like that they're a good salesperson. They might be a great salesperson, but not
mhm,
that great of a business person. So
right.
beyond $2,000, do some diligence. Beyond five, uh, I would tell you from my experience, angel investing could go a little bit higher, but now you're going more in the realm of seed capital. Now there should be terms relative to 6, 7, 8, 9, 10,000 or more. There's got to be a payback schedule. The person who's then borrowing that money, they can't expect that it's going to be forgiven. They need to put into their business plan, how am I going to take this loan and pay it back? And not pay it back in 20 years. It's got to be part of in your first year, some dollars that you're bringing in, you better put it in an envelope for the note that you have. Um,
A
so
very wise
that's
piece of
my
advice.
experience.
Yeah,
I was need to share with our followers.
yeah. Thank you for that. That's,
And that,
you
and
know,
that's a great conversation to have with the individual or individuals, right? They need to know past a couple $1,000. Now they have to accept that in their business plan, they have to have a new
mhm,
line item that says loan repayment. And that's got to be part of their monthly revenue plan, an expense plan. Every month, I
as
have to pay back the interest and a little piece of this principal on the business loan contract that I signed.
do you like being in that position to be able to fund somebody's business? Have you had a lot
Now,
of success in that?
I have to be honest with our followers, and I always will be. I
Mhm,
don't enjoy that anymore because I'm 72 going on 73.
mhm,
If someone downloads my CV, they're going to see one of the people that I've been helping for this past year. She's an amazing individual. Her company is called Mimic Essentials. She has now come to me. She's been in business for over a year. She's come to me for a loan.
mhm,
And we had a very frank and candid discussion because her initial idea was to pay me back. She wants an interest only loan for 2 years. Eh, I don't like those arrangements, but I'm willing to consider it. And then she
mhm,
wanted to pay back the loan in 5 years. And I said, Mimi, you have to understand, I could do that, but I don't want to do that at this age because interest only for 2 years puts me at 74. If she's on a
mhm.
5 year payback, now I'm pushing 79 or 80. And
Yeah,
if I pass before that time, now my heirs have to inherit this note. They have to make a call to this businesswoman to say, you don't know me, but blah, 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 blah. So
yeah.
what, what I'm what we're in negotiations with right now is, and I'm only doing it because she is a grinder. She's a successful grinder. Um, she's not a young kid. She's sort of our age. If you took our two ages and averaged them, she's right in that
Yeah.
zone.
Hmm.
So this probably is going to be my last business loan. I'll give her the 2 years interest only, but I want a 2-year payback. I just met with her for a couple hours earlier this week, and we did an amortization schedule, which for those who are not sophisticated in financial matters, it just means write down on a piece of paper, what is the interest every 3 months? Then when it comes times to pay a little bit of principal and that continuing interest, it's just a table of, here's what you have to send to me every single quarter for the next
Hmm.
years. So now she's processing that because her greatest skill set is not financial. So that's where I'm giving her most of my help right now.
Okay. I
So
like.
that was a long answer too. The good
Right.
news is if I was to mentor our followers, I would give them this advice about investing. If
Hmm.
you're in your 20s or your 30s, you should be willing to take some risks. If you can help someone else because you are financially able to, be smart. Give them a fair interest rate. Don't stretch it out for a long period of time. Have some initial successes that are short term. If you can give out a loan, even if it's a micro loan, and you can get paid back in 2 years, now you see the system works. Don't
Hmm.
stretch it out to 4 or 5 or 6 years because, Christina, you and I know from experience, most new startups don't make it past year 2.
That's correct.
So just be smart. When you're younger, be willing to take some smaller risks, but give yourself a much shorter payback time. And then as you get older and you get more experience in these matters, your sixth sense will tell you where is your comfort level then. And don't go to any big bucks. If you're ever going to go to big bucks, make sure you have a mentor to guide you so that you don't make a rookie mistake.
Mm,
Someone can reach out to you, Christina, and say, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. What do you think? And your answer may surprise them because we would never let any of our followers or any of our new listeners make a rookie mistake because that's why we're here.
exactly.
We're here to give back and help them do these
That's
kinds
right.
of things, not make
Right.
mistakes.
From our own personal experiences or experiences of others that we've come across. Definitely want to help people do things right the first time.
So here's what I'll do.
Mhm.
When someone reaches out for me and says, Bob, what do you think I should do? I will find out how old they are and I will tell them, call Christina first and get her advice.
Sounds like a plan.
Sounds like a plan.
Sounds like a plan, Stan. Thank you for sharing on that. I think that I want to add in there as well. There could be also a benefit for the angel investors as well, to write those things off for tax purposes. Just want to put that little tidbit
If
in there.
if they needed a deduction,
Hmm.
if they needed a deduction.
All right.
If you needed
So,
a deduction, you could always just send thousands and thousands of dollars to the Para Family Foundation. You'll see all the good that we do if you just need a fast deduction.
there you
You don't
go.
have to get entwined in some business deal that's going to take 3 or 4 or 5 years to see if you're going to get your money back.
Yeah.
All kidding aside, right? The purpose
Yeah,
of
no.
today's podcast is to help our audience and our followers and our listeners enjoy the topic that we chose. Angel investing is fun. It's heartwarming. We're helping someone else. It's a very rewarding activity. Now,
Yeah.
if you're listening to this podcast and you need a micro loan, let's call it that. You
Uh-huh.
should have gotten enough tips out of this thing to know how to approach an angel investor. It's a short payback period. Always communicate, communicate, communicate. Silence is bad. So if you owe somebody money and you're not communicating, we know that's a sign of something is amiss. So
Right.
over communicate. Let them know how you're doing. Give them a couple of bucks back. They're probably going to say, hold on to it for a while. You're going to need it. But Christina, I appreciate you picking this topic today. It's one that's close to our hearts.
Yes, and thank you so much for all your valuable insight on that. It's always a pleasure listening to you speak about your experiences and what you're passionate about as well. So thank you. And until next time. We'll see you soon.
Bye, Christina. Love
Bye,
you.
Bob.